I have some questions for you. Then what we're going to do, I guess, is go race by race. Thank you for correcting me, Donna. And then we are going to field questions from the audience, and those could be to anyone up here. So stay tuned. All right. So let me start off with each of you talking about the decreased population of Binghamton and its surrounding areas, the county, let's say. What do you see as your role in keeping people here and bringing people into the area? Debbie?
Well, I think that that's going to all boil down to jobs. And we have to make sure that we have the jobs for the people to keep them here, and especially our young people. And before I go any further, I just want to say that, you know, we have done a lot. Thanks to New York State, thanks to the Senate, the Assembly, and also thanks to Governor Cuomo with the CFAs, the URIs, because that is boosting us in Broome County. That's what's going to bring the jobs in, is creating new businesses, which I think that on the CFAs we've already received over $20 million. But we have to find ways. We have to, with the new technology, I think with the pharmacy school that's coming in, with the various other jobs that are going to be created with the URI that has been awarded and the CFAs, I think you're going to see a change in Johnson City. It's going to want people to stay, and we're having more professionals coming in to Johnson City with a lot of the things that are being done. Here on campus, we have new businesses going in there, and that is going to create more technical jobs to keep our younger people here, because it's not, you know, you're going to have some manufacturing, but we have to look at technical, which we are. So I think that what's been done with the state and the help that they've given us, like it's been said, these jobs weren't lost overnight, and you don't bring them back overnight. And the other thing I do want to say is that Broome County is not gloom and doom, and I will tell you that, because we have made progress, and it does take time. And I'm proud of Broome County, and I think that we are on a good path. And again, with the things that are happening in Johnson City and all the awards that we receive, and with the agency and all of the new manufacturing that's coming in with the Dicks and the new businesses that have just opened, and the new jobs, which we're looking at almost 2,000 new jobs with the new announcements that have been made. So this isn't gloom and doom, and I'm never going to sit here and say that it is, but it is going to take a lot of work. And I'm proud of what my team and other agencies have done, and local developers and the businesses have done these last 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Preston. Mr. Garnar?
Well, as a graduate of Broome Community College and Binghamton University, and as somebody who stayed here, I think I have a little bit of idea what it takes to attract young people to this area. I really wish I could wave a magic wand and sprinkle jobs all through the area. And, you know, I'm sure business leaders here are just laughing right now, because, you know, no elected official can just sit there and wave your wand at jobs. I'm going to go in a little different direction, but it's related to it. How do you get people to stay here? You offer them things to do. And as a county, what can you do? If you look at our website, we have a carousel on it. Now, I love carousels. There's no doubt about it. I remember when I was a little boy, my parents would take me to the Ross Park Zoo carousel, and you take your piece of garbage off throw it into the trash can, and you get to ride around in it. But is that the image? I mean, when people Google, people who run website companies around here, when you Google Broome County, you get Broome County's website. And what we get is a big picture of a carousel. Now, that isn't the type of thing that is going to attract thousands and thousands of people to Broome County. Let's put aside the jobs for a second. Certainly jobs are the #1 thing that gets people here. If you don't have a job, you can't stay here. But after that, and if people are making the decision to come to Broome County and weighing, well, I've got a job offer in Broome County, I've got a job offer in New Jersey. We have some wonderful things in this county. I love Broome County. There's no way I would ever bought a house and stayed here. I'm here for the whole time. I'm here for the duration. I love this community. Why don't we actually market the great things that are going on in this community? You saw Luma, right? Last year I went to Luma, 25,000 people in downtown. This year, 30,000 people in downtown. Why aren't we putting that on our website so people can see those awesome things that are getting thousands of people, not just here, but outside of Broome County? Let's market our community much better than the way we marketed it before. So people, when they're Googling, when they're checking out Broome County and they have the opportunity to get a job here, and they're weighing coming here as opposed to other places, they see the great things that are happening here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next question for Mrs. Preston. Given the information today out of American Airlines, what is your plan for the Greater Binghamton Airport as County Executive?
All right. We know that wasn't good news today, and it affects us and Elmira. This is not something that, again, is not just happening to Broome County. What I'm looking to do, in all seriousness, is I'm asking the FAA to do an in-depth study. They have a vested interest in our airport, as they do in others. If you look at the United States and all across the country, we used to have 450 airports. Now we're down to 250 airports. The airlines are definitely cutting. We have, I feel that the FAA is objective. I think that the other counties involved with Elmira, they have to be in Ithaca. We need to sit down, we need to meet, and we need to know what is the best to do as we move forward with our airports. And we do not like to get this information. No airline or no airport does, no county does. I talked to the other county executives, and it is devastating news. But there has to be a way as we move forward that things are changing, not only here, Broome County, Chemung County, they're changing throughout the country. So we need to look and see, if we had 450, now we have 250, do we really need to start looking at, by doing a study and seeing, with the three of us getting together, should there be a regional? That's been discussed in the past, and I know that nobody wants to hear this, and I'm here to tell you that it's something that we have to look at. And my first step on this is that we bring in the FAA to do an independent study. You have to look at this. I think that when they all come together, you're going to get cheaper flights, and it's going to be something that needs to be looked at. And I know it was discussed in the past, and nobody would do it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And I certainly am open to talk about it, and I think we need to talk about it.
Thank you, Mrs. Preston. Mr. Garnar.
By the time the federal government comes back with a study, we're not going to have a Broome County Airport. Take that to the bank. Now, where is the plan to increase passengers? Because that's why airlines are leaving. I don't see any written plan, a plan of action. I mean, this is what a business does. We talk about how do we take a business approach to this. If your business has a problem, if you're not selling a certain product, you've got a problem here or there, you get your stakeholders together and you come up with a plan of action. That's what I would do immediately. Is the parking too much at Broome County Airport? Is that one of the many things that are driving people away? Let's reduce parking. Is our marketing efforts, in terms of marketing, how are we marketing it? Are we marketing the airport just on the side of buses? Are people that take buses the people that take flights the most? I don't know. This is something that I would do in my administration. I would look at everything that goes on in the airport, bring stakeholders together before we lose airlines, before we lose two airlines, because we are going to lose this airport. Mark my words. If we wait for a federal study, I mean, how many of you are frustrated with the federal government right now? If we wait for another study, it's going to be gone. So I would quickly put together a plan of action. I understand the second airline is leaving in February. I would put together a plan of action, if I'm so honored to be elected, even before I take office, so that we can start to get those passenger numbers up so we don't lose that third airline.
Thank you. One last question before we move on to the next race. The opioid addiction crisis has led to a spike in property crime and some really devastating personal tragedies for families in our area. What do you plan to do to tackle the opioid addiction epidemic in our area, Mrs. Preston?
Well, we have, I don't think, how long do I have on that?
2 minutes.
That's it? Okay. Okay, first of all, I just want to say one thing, that I do have to, I just can't let something go, because our airport is struggling. It has been struggling, and the only comment I have to make is that, Mr. Garnar, before I came in, you approved grant money to be used for balancing the budget at the airport, so it didn't help us any there. As far as the opioid addiction problem, I do want to talk about this. I started a task force in January of 2015, and it's called Broome County Opioid, the BOAC Addiction Council. We've done a lot. This council consists of law enforcement, it consists of treatment professionals in our area, and I do want to stress that we do have good treatment professionals. We have done a lot as far as the heroin goes. Not enough, it's never enough. One death is too many. But we work together. We have created a lot of opportunities. I do want to say thank you to Senator Akshar for everything that he's done to help us receive grants for the Fairview recovery so that we can increase beds. I want to thank the state, and Oasis has been very good to us as we write the grants. We were able to get a grant also from the federal government for drug court, which is, I'm very proud of drug court. But there's a lot we have to do. 2 minutes is not enough time for me to say what we have to do. But I will tell you this is a community problem. And Broome County is not the worst. Because, like I said, one death is too many. But this crisis is not only Broome County, it's New York State, and it's across the country. I want to say thank you again to our state and federal partners as we work together, because we have to work as a community and as a team. And I'm very proud of the BOAC. I'm proud of our professionals. We have the hospitals are on it, we have nonprofits on it, and they're doing a great job.
Thank you, Mrs. Preston.
Okay, one more thing is that the next budget, we have over $6 million we're dedicating to it, which is double this year. And there's not enough money right now to put into it. It's never enough.
Thank you. Mr. Garnar.
My brother was a heroin addict for 7 years, and he stole from me. I had to put him in jail. I can't tell you what a nightmare that was for me and my family. The stigma attached to heroin addiction is incredible. And unfortunately, that way I had to learn about the lack of services. I don't have any problem with the hospitals and the treatment services here. We simply don't have enough. We're on track to lose 80 people from heroin this year. We are. And heroin, you talk to any law enforcement personnel, heroin is the leading cause of the reason why we have the highest crime rate, not just property crime rate, but out of 62 counties, we have the highest crime rate in New York State. We have to do something about this. If 80 people die from a flood this year, we would be moving heaven and earth to do what we could, leaving no stone unturned. Now, 2 minutes certainly isn't enough to talk about it, but you need short-term detox. When people are finally ready to stop using heroin, they should not have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get detoxed. They should be able to go right in there and get the help. And we need long-term treatment. I have called for the Broome Developmental Center to get a private or public treatment center into the Broome Developmental, which is now unfortunately closed. I've been calling for that for months. I've had private treatment centers come to me and say, hey, if you can get us a building, we can come in here. That's really desperately needed. And the good news, though, is that there is hope. My brother has been sober for 5 years. He is the wonderful father of the most beautiful 3-year-old nephew you'd ever know. And he just got married a couple weeks ago. He's successful. And unfortunately in Broome County, that's not really what happens to most people who are addicted. And this is an issue of blame. We shouldn't be blaming anybody. This is a community issue. I just feel that we need much more action on it and much more attention paid to it.
Thank you, Mr. Garnar.